Hi everybody, this is Derek with Ted Lare Garden Center and I have Melissa behind the camera.
Hi, guys.
So this is a partnership class with Waukee Library and we're doing a starter kit for a fairy garden. So I'm going to start off by showing you what comes with the kit. The kit was picked up at the library a couple days before the class and we have two bags of soil, well, one bag of soil, the other bag of soil is back here. There we go, two bags of soil. And we have two plants, which may not necessarily be what's pictured because it's kind of an assortment, so everybody gets something a little different. We have a bag of moss right there, a coffee filter, the accessories, there are 3 of them, a fairy, a chair, and a rock. And some of them may be a little different too. And then finally, the bowl that it comes in. That's everything that comes in the kit. So we're going to kind of lay things out, or we're going to decide where we're going to start, which is going to be the potting media. We're going to put the potting media into the pot, and I wanted to mention that it comes with a plug in it. You'll want to take that plug out so when you're watering it, it doesn't slowly fill up the bottom and cause a lot of problems with overwatering. So to make it much easier for care, you'll want to take that out. So that's what I'm going to do here. And I just take my finger and press down, and it pops right out. It may take a little extra effort since that one would already been previously removed. So if it's the first time, you may have a little bit of trouble, but it shouldn't be too hard to get that out of there. And you're left with a hole like this in the bottom. So now we have the proper drainage. The next step is to put the coffee filter on the bottom. And we're doing that so that when I pour the soil in there, it doesn't all spill out of the bottom or leave a little mark on the table wherever we're going to have it sitting. So that's on the bottom. And then we're going to take our potting media, which is just a standard house plant mixture. Nothing special in there, anything like that, just your house plant mixture. We're going to pour that on the bottom. And there's 2 bags because one doesn't quite fill it enough. We're aiming for about 1 inch below the edge of the pot. I'll kind of press down there to make sure there's no air pockets. Looks like that's about good. So it's all laid out. The next part is where it starts to actually get a little bit more fun. It's deciding where we want our plants and just kind of laying things out. And this part can take a while. If you're more experienced, it can go pretty quickly. But just trying to decide where you want the green to be. They could be together like that. This one's going to be taller than this one, so maybe toward the front like that. It kind of is just your decision. As you're doing that process, now is a good time to take out the fairy accessories and kind of decide where those are going to go too. Because the next step, we're going to put moss on it. And you want to be done with the designing phase after the moss is put on. So now is the best time to figure out where we want our items. So I like to just kind of stick it in there and see what I think of it. You want the chair to be close. Maybe the rock to be in the back. The sky's the limit with how you want it to be, but I think I'm going to go with that scene right there. So I'll take my accessories out so I can pot things up. And so for transplanting, we're going to take the plant out of the pot, and you're going to see a pretty tight, compacted roots in there. You'll want to separate those some so that they'll grow better and it's more loose. It's easier for it to grow. So just break it up like that. Dig the hole in there, place it in, and just kind of tuck the soil around the edge. Same thing for that one. Just break it up a little bit. Hole. And tuck it in. It's all planted in there. So now that we have the plants in there and designs laid out, next is putting the moss in there and making it greener. Which you're going to see it's going to change quite dramatically once we put that on. So this is preserved moss. It's no longer living moss. And it's just going to add a woodland feel to it. That's what it looks like. It's pretty dry when you get it. You'll want to have a tub of water nearby so you can soak it and it will be easier to spread that way. Otherwise it's very crispy. So just kind of dunk it in there. And like a washcloth, just wring it out. Then lay it back out and place over the soil. There's about 2 or 3 good chunks of moss inside the bag, which you can lay out over most of the soil.
And if you wanted to rip it up into pieces, you could?
Yes, you can. So just because it comes like this doesn't mean I couldn't. Maybe I want to have 3 places of moss. So you just pull it apart like that, place it in there, and that will actually give you a little bit more coverage, whereas if I would have left it together, there would have been more soil showing. So that's kind of our layout there. And I had my chair. It's going to go here. And my fairy here. And a rock in the back. So there's kind of our general layout. And I also wanted to mention that maybe you want to add a little more to the garden. There's definitely a lot of things you can buy if you wanted to. You can get really fancy fairy houses and things like that. Or you can just be really simple and make it a family project and just go out to the garden to collect pine cones. I really like to use just kind of old sticks from my mulch bed, for example, because they look really rustic, and you can put that in there and make it look really cool. It's just basically any little thing you can find.
My girls love to go hunting for rocks. They also love to go hunting for flower blooms in the garden. They actually will add those to the garden just to lay in there for the fairies, of course. So
even one of the things I noticed is when we're potting, these pots are actually kind of, small and look like they would fit in. So you could totally just make that upside down and clean it up a little if you want to and make it a house or a building.
Could even paint it.
You could paint it, yeah. And even the plug for the pot kind of looks like a top hat. If you wanted to put something in there that needed a top hat, I'm just going to put it there just because.
Yep. So get creative, right?
Yeah, you could just get creative. You can use rocks from the lawn. It's really anything you want it to be. So that kind of talks about or shows you how to design it out. Now I'm going to show you how to take care of it. For the watering needs, mostly you're just going to have your watering can and you'll just kind of go over the areas where the plants are. You don't have to drench the whole thing, of course, but just kind of go over the area where the plants are. And these plants are all miniature forms of bigger house plants. So they're going to grow, and some of them could actually get quite large. Without trimming, it may look a little overgrown. So I'm actually going to show you how to trim it. This right here is an ivy, like an English ivy. So for that one, as it grows, it'll keep spilling over the edge and it will take over. It would probably grow easily, fill up most of this pot. So to keep it from doing that, I'm just going to take my scissors and find where a leaf is coming out and prune right above it. Just like that. And you can keep doing that as it grows. That'll keep things in check. And same thing with this one. This one will grow out and kind of up at the same time. So you can just easily go in there and prune things out. I'll prune off one of the tips of this. So I don't mind it growing a little bit more before I prune it, but that just kind of shows you how you can keep it smaller if you want to. I think I covered most parts. Do you think I'm missing anything, Melissa?
The only thing that you might want to talk about for them is what kind of light do these plants like? Where should they place these? Can they go outside, or do they need to be inside, or maybe a little bit about that?
Perfect question. So these can be indoors or outdoors, but the care that they get is going to be a lot different depending upon where it is. If you're going to have it outside, I probably would want to have it in at least part shade, so not out in the burning hot sun, because some of these houseplants may burn a little bit. Or at least if you're going to try that, acclimate it a little bit. So put it in the shade at first and slowly bring it out to the sun will help it out a lot better than just putting it right out in the hot sun. Watering is going to be probably 2 times more often than if it was inside. So it wouldn't be surprising to have to be watering this 1 to 2 times a week. 1 second. Out here in the country where loud vehicles go by sometimes. So that's kind of how you get things outside, making sure it's well watered. Just check on it every once in a while and you shouldn't have any problems. As the plants grow older and the roots fill up the pot, the more watering it will need. So just keep an eye on it as the months go by. If you're going to have it inside, I would really want to check to see how the soil feels, because it could be 1 to 2 weeks before it even needs water at first. And again, it does increase watering needs as the months go by, but it's going to be a lot slower than it would be if it was outside. If you're going to have this inside, I would want to have it nearby a window within 2 to 3 feet. It doesn't matter if it's a north window or a south window. Just make sure it's near the window so it's getting plenty of light, and that would be enough light for it if it's within that 6 feet. Any other questions you think they might have?
No, I think that's pretty much it. But if they have questions, how would they get in touch if something's gone wrong with their fairy garden or they need to know what to do next?
I think the best one is just to go ahead and contact us at Ted Lare Garden Center here in Cumming. We'll answer any questions you have. What should I give them?
A phone number and maybe
Phone
our
number.
website?
Okay. Our website is tedsgardens.com. Is that it, Melissa?
Yes, it is.
I
Derek.
go on there a lot, but I don't remember it sometimes. And our phone number is 515-981-1075. You can call us with any questions you have. And that kind of pretty much covers this class. I definitely want to thank Waukee Library for doing this with us. And hi, Alex, if I didn't say that already since I worked with you. And that's kind of going to be it for this class, I think.
Okay. Thanks for watching today, you guys.
Bye.